We're reconvening the meeting right now to open session. Were there any actions taken in closed session?
Yes, there were. Okay, actions taken on a 6-0 vote. The board took action in a closed session to deny a custodian's appeal of an administrative determination of unlawful discrimination. On a vote of 6-0, the board took action in closed session to release a senior matriculation specialist. On an action of 6-0, the board took action in closed session to deny a groundskeeper appeal of administrative determination of unlawful discrimination and retaliation. That's all.
Okay, thank you, trustee Whit-Rydell. And now we're going to have an invocation led by trustee Tim Jamal, followed by a pledge of allegiance led by myself, and then we'll move on to public comments.
Please stand if you're able. Last week marked the 21st anniversary of the September 11th attacks on our country. Just a reminder, I think we all know what happened, but on September 11th, 2001, nearly 3,000 people were murdered in a coordinated terrorist attack on the United States orchestrated and carried out by Islamic extremists. This was the single largest loss of life resulting from a foreign attack on American soil. The attacks caused the deaths of 441 first responders, the greatest loss of emergency responders on a single day in American history. The 4 hijacked airplanes were scheduled to fly from the East Coast right here to California, something I did this morning. Over the past weekend, I had the opportunity to visit in person the September 11th Memorial in Lower Manhattan with my family. And I really hope everyone has a chance, if you are able, to visit this memorial. It's extremely powerful to honor the victims of the tragedy and to work every day to rid this world of hate. And as I've mentioned before, hate is truly a destructive force that has no place in our society, in this country, in the world. And especially in our role here on our campuses. So let's keep our community college district filled with love, with selflessness, and continue providing our students a world-class education. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. And now please join me in a pledge of allegiance to the flag of our great nation. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And now we have one request to speak to the board. Johan Khan from Irvine. Okay, go ahead.
Jahan.
Jahan?
Jahan, yes.
Oh, Jahan, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, board, for your time. First and foremost, as a queer person of color, I deeply appreciate the effort from both colleges addressing DEI with public commitments of dedication to dismantling institutional hurdles within education. Visibility on campus to those who have historically been underrepresented personally has made a lasting impression while nurturing a sense of belonging, especially when our chancellor has shared her rigorous path to success. As someone who has recently been displaced and shunned from their family due to their gender and sexual identity, having to work full-time to meet the bare minimum of necessities, the chancellor and faculty members abiding by their promise to DEI has reignited this grit to continue with my academic pursuits. While I commend the district on the focus of DEI and their open-mindedness, I strongly urge them to adopt DEIA, A standing for accessibility. Diagnosed with clinical depression and dysgraphia due to a self-harming incident, there have been many impediments to continue with my computer science academic path due to the lack of precedence and accommodation for modern software engineering curriculum. Unfortunately, there have been no adequate accommodations for computer science coursework without bending policies on extra time with assignments. I'm very fortunate to have the support of Judy Hemney and other DSPS faculty members. However, I strongly suggest the board to commit to contesting traditional policies in place to avoid disparate impact or unintentional discrimination. There is a tremendous amount of gratitude to the student leaders of ASIVC, as well as co-curriculars such as Phi Theta Kappa, investing time to research the experience of disabled students. I wish to participate in these initiatives and represent other queer, working, non-traditional students like myself, but regrettably, I am unable to due to lack of accommodations within my school's bylaws in their ASG. The district has become pioneers in accessibility and in DEI. However, now is the time for implementation. Both Saddleback and IBC can equip tools from the pandemic to provide accessibility to all students, and respective student life heads should consider non-traditional student paths for equitable representation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for your comments. Thank you. And now we go on to board reports. First, trustee Inman, do you have a report?
Very short this time. It's been a shorter amount of time. I've done a lot of talking to different individuals about visiting classes and programs and so forth, which I wish to do. The two events were similar and for the same purpose, and I go along with what Trustee Jamal said. I went to the IVC presentation about 9/11, and then the beginning of the next week, a moment of silence at Saddleback College. And these events are so important. And I know the speakers that were there said this, but maybe all of you didn't hear it. Just like last year, I am amazed when you stand there, and there were a lot of students, and you realize that the traditional students, the ones that are 18 to 20, et cetera, they weren't alive when 9/11 happened. And so I had the feeling and the commitment, as so many people here do, that we simply must have these commemorations to remind them, because they don't have that thing that we have where we know exactly where we were, exactly what happened, and watched part of it on television once it had started. So anyway, thank you very much. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And trustee Jay?
My aim in presenting my board report this evening is to honor a faculty member who has had an indelible impact on the major segment of this district community, but is now leaving us to take a major project for the state's community college. It's Terrence Nelson, who devoted his time at Saddleback College to serving those who served all of us, our student veterans. This list of accomplishments is extensive, and I'd like to share a few of them with you. Terrence has served our district as a faculty member and in administration since 2006. He developed and pioneered pioneer services in the state of California. The Veterans Education and Transition Services Program was the first fully comprehensive Veterans Resource Center in California, and has been used as a template for veterans programs throughout our community colleges. Now, almost 3/4 of the 116 colleges have full Veterans Resource Centers. He has forged relationships with dozens of community partners in support of our veterans, including agreements with the Veterans Administration and Department of Defense, Ivy League University Pathways, and many more organizations. He has advocated for and drafted state and federal legislation to support student veterans and re-entry students in areas such as residency, priority registration, and credit for prior learning. He has advised state and federal elected officials, the Department of Defense, and the Veterans Administration on policy implementation of veterans programs. He garnered millions of dollars for Saddleback College in grants, donors funds, and categorical funds. Most importantly, he co-authored the VCAT Innovation Award to grant college credits for military education and training. His team won the first and only John Rice Diversity and Equity Award for Saddleback College in 2016, the only veterans program to that date to be honored in this manner. These are just a few of Terrence's accomplishments, and we are indebted to his service to the veterans and to Saddleback College. Terrence, we will really miss you. Thank you for all you've done for Saddleback, and best wishes in your new endeavors, which will be working for the state. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, trustee Jay. And next, trustee, okay.
Okay, this evening, I would like to share with you what's happening with the Saddleback Foundation. I am the representative from the board, so I have a few thoughts here that I'd like to share. Saddleback College has proudly awarded over $400,000 in scholarships to students at the start of this semester, with more to come throughout the semester and next. About the 22nd annual gala, the foundation team is busily preparing for the most memorable and successful gala to date. On Saturday, November 5th, at the Ritz-Carlton Laguna Niguel. In case you didn't hear, it's November the 5th. The partnership with the fine arts continues with highlights Saddleback's talented faculty, students, and staff. Don't wait to purchase your tickets or your tables. You won't want to miss this special experience. Saddleback College Foundation Executive Director Elizabeth McCann was elected Vice President of the Network for California Community College Foundations. She also recently completed her Certified Specialist of Planned Giving program and started her EDD in Educational Leadership, Higher Education, both now at Cal State Long Beach. Thank you.
Thank you. And trustee Jamal, do you have a report?
Very, very brief. I think I said what I wanted to say tonight during the invocation, but I just realized that by the time we meet again, it is likely that all of us in this room here will have received your ballots and probably will have voted. So I can't tell you how to vote because that's not permitted as we're up here, but I will encourage you to vote. Don't take that for granted when we look at see what's happening around the world where the franchise is actually being taken away from millions of people. Never take that for granted. Please get out and vote. When I think everyone in the state now receives the mail ballot. It's easy. It is. There's no stamp, and just get it done. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And trustee Prendergast?
October 10th. They're being mailed,
The mail ballot comes.
so it's likely you'll receive them and probably even vote before our next board meeting. Thank you.
Trustee Prendergast, do you have?
Thank you. First off, I attended the Orange County School Board Association board meeting on behalf of this board and behalf of the community colleges as their representative, as you appointed me. And just a reminder that the dinner meeting is coming up October 19th, so hopefully you're able to make that to hear the presentations from the guest speaker. The biggest event I attended for on behalf of the college, the Angel Game on September 3rd. I got 2 hats. I got the Angel cowboy hat that was a general giveaway to everybody. And then I got the special Saddleback College. It's got the Bobcat logo along with the Angel logo and Saddleback College. So I have some extra of these for the chancellor and the president since they didn't make the game. And Trustee Jamal, because I know he likes baseball. So, and then lastly, just we referenced this at the last meeting with the opening sessions. Heidi Ochoa had presented gave us a presentation on neurodiversity, which I had never heard the term before, and it was interesting that now I've become the advisor for the Neurodiversity Club at Beckman High School because I mentioned it to my students, and one of them was super excited and asked me if I'd want to be the advisor for the club. So now not only have I heard about it, I'm going to be promoting it. So
Now you have to get the
thank you
book now.
for planting that seed in my brain. And that's all I have.
Thank you. You have to get the book now, so thank you. And I had the honor of bringing greetings for the board at the IBC's 9/11 ceremony. This was a partnership between the Orange County United Way and the Student United Way at Irvine Valley College, Student Veterans, and Orange County Fire Authority. Everyone there assembled 700 emergency preparedness kits for Orange County families and veterans in need. And thank everyone for volunteering to do this on a very warm morning. It was a lovely event. And Chancellor Barnes and the 25 administrators, professors, classified professionals, and I attended an event called Driving Out Darkness, a UCI one-day learning experience for Orange County leaders. They explored anti-Semitism. It was put on by the Anti-Defamation League, and they explored anti-Semitism and other forms of hate and gained valuable tools and overcome strategies for countering the rising levels of hate, which you mentioned in our community. Ken Burns' current special, The U.S. and the Holocaust on PBS, or on the PBS app, explores the unimaginable consequences of what propaganda, marginalization, and hatred can lead to, so I recommend it. We don't know what students or their parents or their grandparents experience when they arrive at our colleges. I've seen horrific experiences by some affect many subsequent generations. With our college programs and our caring campuses, we are helping Jewish and all marginalized students feel welcome here. With our strong commitment to equal opportunity for all students, we are improving so many lives. Thank you. Okay, next, the Associated Student Government Report. And first, it's Gloria Lee from Saddleback, and then Angelica Bustaus for IVC.
Student trustee.
Oh, student trustee, I'm so sorry. I talked to you earlier. The student trustee, Rachel Abelos. Sorry about that, very sorry.
No
Okay.
worries, President Milchiker. Just responding in solidarity with the students who've experienced a need for advocacy for DSPS services at our campuses. I believe as a student representative that IVC and Saddleback are top tier in providing the most open resources to our students. And coming back from the student trustee workshop, so many other districts do not have the same culture of diversity, equity, and inclusion that we do. That is why I firmly believe that SOC CCD has the capability to make things more accessible and to create plans toward a clearly accessible experience for our students. When my fellow students in ASIVC reached out to our DSPS department back in March for advocacy for DSPS students, I was surprised to hear from our coordinator that no student advocacy has been brought up to include DSPS in the last 30 years that she had been working here. She gave us data that about 1 out of every 14 students at IVC uses the DSPS services. Although we should work after this board meeting with different departments to make a concrete plan of action to support our students, some suggestions from the student body include looking into our bylaws and the ADA guidelines for more ways to update software and technology to accommodate STEM students with disabilities, putting more emphasis on understanding the culture of DSPS students, and involving student voices in writing DEIA training. Thank you.
Thank you, that was excellent. Very excellent suggestions. I appreciate you giving it to us, and we will look into that. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, now we have the Saddleback College Associated Student Government Report from Gloria Lee and IVC, Angelica Bustos.
Good afternoon, Board of Trustees and members of the public. It's so nice to see everyone again after our budget presentation. I'm very excited to say that ASG has a lot of fun things in store. Our Honor Student Council has planned transfer student panel workshops for honor students to provide guidance and a Q&A session from previous Saddleback alumni who are currently at different UCs. These alumni include past ASG officers and other students who are very involved in honors and leadership on campus. On September 20th and 21st, we plan to host Club Rush and voter awareness events from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Some of the club booths that will be out during Club Rush include Alpha Gamma Sigma Honor Society, Astronomy and Physics Club, Anthropology Club, and more. Campus life and involvement is very important, and we want to be able to support our students to be able to pursue their diverse interests through club life on campus. As mentioned briefly at our last meeting, with the primary elections coming up on November 8th, we believe that civic engagement is crucial as it's important for our students and the younger generation to vote for representatives in Congress who can truly represent our beliefs. We will have a voter resources booth out during Club Rush and plan to work with the Pre-Law Society at Saddleback to work on more civic engagement events for October and next year. I know that it was harder to promote student involvement due to COVID last year, but ASG is determined to recruit many students to join student government this year, as we believe that student leadership is an amazing opportunity to grow your skill set and network. Since summer, I have already responded to 200 plus applicants, so we can definitely look forward to having many student leaderships at Saddleback College. The club and events committees in ASG are currently in the works of planning even more events, such as volunteer events and fall Halloween spirit events. We hope that the events we plan to host in the upcoming weeks will be able to provide a versatile range of resources for our students. We want our campus to be a safe and social place for all, so we are trying our best to listen to student concerns and help heighten our college experience. That concludes my report. Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's wonderful that you have all these wonderful clubs and experiences for our community students, so thank you. Next, Angelica Bustos from IVC.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for the opportunity for me to give my update. So I want to just recap Club Day. So Club Day was a huge success. We had over 500 students attend, which is a new record, especially during pre-COVID. There was over 35 clubs and many new clubs that started this semester. Also, we had voter registration on campus. And I had the opportunity to also run a table and for my own club, and I was able to see a lot of ambitious students trying to find community on campus, especially emphasizing that after being online for so long or coming for the first time, they're gonna finally find a home on campus. As for ASIVC, we finally have our 5 judicial court justices, and we right now are hosting elections for senator so we can complete our ASIVC legislative body. I also wanted to highlight, as some of you have attended, the IVC Student United Way event. That was the 9/11 event. And I would definitely want to highlight our Executive Vice President, Harin Lee, who led the initiative and had such an amazing event. And also, if you haven't noticed, that also Katie Porter came along too. Also, I wanted to now continue on highlighting Latinx Heritage Month. And as someone who is Latina, I'm definitely really happy to see that my school genuinely cares that I'm there on campus. Because when I first came on campus, I did not know where to find my home on campus. So it's really nice to see that this is something that is being celebrated. And I also really appreciate seeing that there's lots of representation in our staff. That's something that I truly value, going to campus and finding professors and faculty and staff that look like me on campus. I also wanted to highlight Undocu Action Week that's going to be coming up in the following weeks, because also it's really important to highlight our undocumented students on campus and our AB 540 students on campus to know that they also belong and they also deserve to have their dreams realized on campus and know that they deserve to be a college student as well. I also finally wanted to finish off with IVC basic needs. I definitely had the opportunity to go to the Food and Resource Center. This is a service that I very much use pretty often, which usually had 5 to 10 students a day to now 500 students weekly. And as a student who heavily relies on this resource, I am very grateful for this program, and I really hope this program continues to expand. Thank you so much.
Thank you. A lot of wonderful things happening, so thank you so much. And then the IVC Academic Senate, Dan DeRelay.
Good evening, President Milchiker, trustees, and good evening, Chancellor Barnes. First, I'd like to report that it is absolutely delightful to once again have students in our campus classrooms and online and in hybrid courses. In fact, these past few weeks have reminded me of my own first days of college and how I turned to my professors for help and guidance in negotiating what, for me, was the new world of higher education. Now, of course, some of what I just said is not true. I did go to college, by the way, and I certainly respected my professors, but they, in all honesty, were not the first people I went to on campus for help and guidance. That help was instead offered to me in 2 places: the financial aid office, where financial aid professionals helped me to untangle the realities of paying for college and keeping myself financially afloat, and the English department office, where the department's senior administrative assistant went out of her way to make sure my first-year colleagues and I did not look too lost, and who helped us with everything from advice on housing and class registration to avoiding burnout. Depending on college professional staff was a lesson I learned and repeated during my undergraduate years, into graduate school, and into my early years as a professor, and I continue to learn it at IVC. College instructors and classified managers and staff working together as a team, valuing each other's roles in our students' college experiences, make us the successful campus that we are. This perspective on our professional staff and managers is especially important these days, as our shrinking societal pool of candidates for such positions turns more competitive, with many employers luring employees with offers of better wages and options for remote work. So I want to speak tonight in appreciation of and solidarity with my classified staff colleagues, something I think we faculty don't do enough. I want to thank them for working in important roles for the success of our students. In terms of Senate has been working with our classified colleagues of late to better prepare IVC for its upcoming accreditation cycle. The focus of such cycles, as you know, is continuous improvement. And we have been building strategies with our Office of Instruction to better measure and then apply what we learn about student academic success. We're working with them to improve continuing professional development for our faculty in online instruction. And we're looking forward to working with the Office of Instruction and President Hernandez to continually better realize IVC's mission in the context of our broader community and, most importantly, in the individual lives of each of our students. Thank you for your work, trustees and Chancellor Barnes, as we continue together to build support and vision for our mission in our colleges. Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful, thank you. And next, Saddleback College Academic Senate, Heidi Ochoa.
Good evening. So good to see everyone today, and I hope everyone's having a beautiful day so far. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge all of the powerful work that has been communicated today. I am so moved by everything articulated by our board members and our student trustee and even the members of the public that gave us a powerful narrative sharing that I think that I'm going to remember for a long time. So thank you. Just 4 updates from the Academic Senate. The Academic Senate executive team at Saddleback College is so excited to present or to invite Faculty Association Community College President Wendy Brill Wincup. She's going to teach faculty on Wednesday about Assembly Bills 1705 and 928 because we want to make sure that our faculty are well equipped to make the best curriculum decisions and maybe to even get them involved in some advocacy in the future because as we know, sometimes we make votes, but that doesn't mean that the change is over. So we're excited that our president is going to come give a nice presentation for our Academic Senate on Wednesday. The executive team is also working with our president, our vice president of student services, and vice president of instruction on an equity training series where we are undergoing a semester's worth of equity training with Dr. Regina Stroud so that we can create a shared language amongst each other so that we can also make some good budget and curriculum decisions together. So we're really excited about this work. The third is the Academic Senate Executive Team worked with Professional Development Coordinator Dan Walsh to secure what we are calling Neurodiversity Day, which is going to take place on January 19th on the Thursday of Flex Week. And that is going to cover professional development that defines Neurodiversity Day. We're also going to represent some disabled students to give us some ideas on how we can better teach, and then hopefully also cover concepts like universal design and other classroom engagement practices that will better engage our students. And then the fourth update that I wanted to communicate was, I don't know if you remember, but a couple of weeks ago in our last board meeting, I put out into the universe that we wanted to work with the district on creating DEIA equity-focused questions, and the universe heard me. I think it was Cindy. And within 24 hours, Danielle Heinbeck reached out to me, and we organized a small subgroup of the Academic Senate executive team to start vetting various DEIA-focused faculty interview questions. That's my update, and thank you for your time.
Wow, so many wonderful, exciting things going on. Thanks so much. And next is the Faculty Association President, Melanie Hayeri. Do you have a report?
Technically challenged. I'm no longer technically challenged.
That's right.
Good evening, President Milchiker, Chancellor Barnes, board members, district administrators, faculty, and the community. I'm honored to represent the faculty, and tonight I'm really honored to congratulate Dr. Emily Liu, Irvine Valley College English
Faculty, yeah.
teacher. She has been given 2 awards. She was honored as Distinguished Educator by the Greater Irvine Chamber, and she was also named as a finalist for Teacher of the Year by the Orange County Department of Ed. I couldn't be more proud to work alongside her. She represents the best in us. I would also like to thank very, very much Dr. Cindy Viskachil tonight and her team of negotiators and the board for both helping us complete successful negotiations and adopt the 3 articles that we just completed negotiating, Articles 15, 17, and 30. These articles dealt with peer evaluations and student evaluations as part of faculty observations and evaluations, and wages. I want to echo what Dan says in my comment about the wages and the COLA. Article 30 addressed the addition of the governor's adjusted COLA to the salary schedule for all faculty, full and part-time. But in solidarity, I also want to acknowledge that the COLA increase for all employee groups is deserved and important and sends a message of respect and acknowledgement for their dedicated and hard work. Faculty, classified professionals, police officers, and also the hardworking district administrators. We all work diligently together to meet the mission of this district and to serve our students. And also late-breaking news, all 3 articles, as of tonight, were ratified by the membership of the Faculty Association. Yay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That's great news. Thank you. Thanks so much. And next, the Irvine Valley College Classified Senate, Desiree Ortiz.
Good evening. Thank you so much. I just want to say thank you to fellow President Dan Dedroulet and fellow President Angelica Bustos for their support. He is correct. When we work together, we are much better. So thank you both for your support, always with our classified professionals. On Tuesday, September 13th, at our General Classified Senate meeting, along with President Hernandez, we celebrated as classified professionals the honor that IVC received for being one of the great colleges to work for. It was amazing turnout. We had over 35 classified professionals in person and 25 online celebrate that huge honor. But we also were filled with sadness to bid farewell to 3 of our amazing classified professionals. We have one of our classified professionals, Ezekiel Hall, who was our senior veteran specialist who worked at IBC for 18 years, who gave us notice 2 weeks ago, who left on Friday. One of our researchers, Lauren Ilano, who was a huge champion for our DEI efforts on campus, who left on Friday also. And with great sadness, if you haven't heard, our very own champion of Classified Senate, Amy Hunter, will be leaving on Thursday. Yes, she wanted to come tonight, but unfortunately she had a lot of packing to do. So we wanted to bid them farewell, and we were very sad, but happy that we got to celebrate with them and celebrate with IBC professionals. So thank you.
Thank you. There's so many interesting reports. I'm learning so much. It's great. Thank you so much. And also, I read about how IVC is one of the top colleges to work for, and it was in President Hernandez's board report. It was really, you should read it. It's very fascinating. Congratulations. Okay, the next one is Saddleback College Classified Senate, Michelle McDougall Jackson.
There we go. Sorry about that. I was also having technical difficulties. Good evening, Board, Chancellor Barnes. We, as a classified senate at Saddleback College, had our very first general meeting of the semester on September 12th, and it was incredibly well attended. We were pleased that there were 38 members of classified professionals on Zoom and 14 who attended in person. So we're off to a good start. My update this evening mostly will include First Gen Day. Classified Senate has decided to take upon themselves the planning of Saddleback College's very first First Gen Day. It's a NASPA national event, which we will be taking part in as a campus on November 8th. And we'll be doing this in order to support first-generation students on campus and showing them a place of belonging by passing out shirts to faculty and staff who identify as first-generation college students, as well as our own Saddleback students who are first-gen, in an effort to show them how many among them in our own faculty and staff are part of that same community. We are also in the middle of developing, I won't tip the hand because I'd like it to be a little bit of a surprise, but with some of our fine arts faculty, we're developing an interactive element to the event so that when students arrive, they can participate in a sort of a physical manifestation of their piece of the puzzle at the college and see themselves in a physical way as part of the campus community. We also are hoping to identify first-generation employees, faculty and staff on their own areas in campus by placing photos in public spaces so that when students walk around in specific areas on campus, they can see those faculty and staff who are first-gen, who maybe they would feel more comfortable approaching with first-gen questions. I also wanted to say very quickly that even if anyone who is not first gen is interested in participating, we're welcoming staff and faculty to volunteer and support those students as well. So even if that's not how you identify, we're opening this event to everyone. So thank you all. I hope to see you all there.
Thank you. President Stern and I are both first-generation students, so we'll have to join you. Thank you so much. Very informative. Thanks again. And then California School Employees Association, Scott Ferguson Green.
Thank you, President Milchiker, Board of Trustees, Dr. Barnes. I first want to thank you as a board for willing to consider accepting the difference increase in COLA. That is very important to us. We know in the times that we're living in, it's important to our members, and thank you very much for wanting to consider accepting that. We especially want to acknowledge Dr. Cindy Viscachill, Executive Director Kim Wittes, and their district team, how important it is to keep lines of communication open, to have a proper dialogue, and they do that on a consistent, constant basis. If we have any concerns, what we do is pick up the phone or we send an email, and even though sometimes the answer is no, if it's not logistically possible, the fact is they have good research for explaining why things should be the way they are or have to be the way they are. So we really appreciate the open dialogue. I'm not very good with numbers when it comes to numbers overwhelming me, except when it has to do with money, including stock dividends, sports statistics, and sports scores. Other than that, However, the district provided a professional courtesy that when we had questions on the difference in COLA, they brought in Connie Cavanaugh, and Connie explained to us so that we could actually understand the calculations so that we can explain it to our members. And that was extremely important. I also wish to acknowledge our classified professional who'd be leaving us, Amy Hunter. She was a wonderful classified Senate president, someone I thoroughly enjoyed working with. And I hate to see her go, but she is being very supportive of her husband as we had that conversation, and that's very admirable. But I also feel that I'm excited to continue to work with the current classified Senate president, both at IVC and Saddleback, Desiree Ortiz and Michelle McDougall-Jackson. They are excellent representatives of classified Senate, and it is a joy to work with them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really very fascinating. We'll miss those people for sure. Thank you so much. And we're going right now to the resolutions and item 6.1. And trustee Whit Rydell is going to read the three resolutions. The first one is Suicide Prevention Week.
Be it resolved that the South Orange County Community College District Board of Trustees declare the week of September 4th through September 10th, 2022 as Suicide Prevention Week in the South Orange County Community College District, and that all employees and students raise awareness through various initiatives, events, or programs. Please call for a motion and a second. I motion that we approve this. Can I have a second?
I second it.
Okay.
Okay, trustee Whit Rydell made the motion and trustee Jay seconds it. And now, do we call the roll or do we do it by electronically? Okay, vote electronically. Thank you.
How do we do that now? Oh, okay, here it is.
I did it.
I don't see it. Did it come up yet? It's taking a while. I think they said there's 9 steps that they have to do before it comes up.
Did you get it? Yeah, I did.
Okay, so now I'd like to mention that the motion has passed on a 6-0 vote with the student trustee voting an advisory yes as well. Thank you. And now the next one is resolution on Hispanic Latinx Heritage Month.
The second resolution being brought forth is, as Marcia said, the Hispanic Latinx Heritage Month. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the South Orange County Community College District hereby recognizes Hispanic Latinx Heritage Month and encourage all students, staff, faculty, and members of the public to honor the transformative contributions that have been made to our community. I motion that we pass this. May I have a second?
I second.
Is there, who made the motion? Okay, trustee Inman made the second, and trustee Jay seconded it. And now we vote electronically. Maybe it's faster to vote by hand. Okay, the final resolution is unanimous. The motion passed on a 6-0 with no abstentions and no votes no, and the student trustee advisory yes. And the next vote is, the next resolution is undocumented student action week. So trustee Whit Rydell.
Be it resolved that South Orange County Community College District declares October 17th through the 21st and every third week of October thereafter as Undocumented Student Action Week to work in partnership with other organizations, the California Community Colleges and the Community College League of California to engage in activities supporting undocumented students. I move that we accept this motion.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Okay, trustee Whit Rydell makes the motion, trustee Jay seconds it, and now vote on it. There it goes. Okay, there it goes. It's unanimous, 6-0 in favor of the motion with 0 voting against, 0 abstention, and a student advisory yes vote. So thank you. The next one is item 4.1, board policy revision for review and study. There's 40 board policies for review and study. and we have to accept them for review and study, and next month we'll vote for them. Are there any questions, or is there any presentation on this? There were certainly a lot of, does the Board Policy Committee want to say anything about it?
I do have questions
Okay.
on two of the policies.
Okay, Trustee Prendergast.
So the first one being policy 23, where to go? 2315 on closed sessions. At the bottom of the page 1 of 2 in red, it says, prior to holding any closed session, the board shall disclose in open meeting the item or items to be discussed in closed session. The disclosure may take the form of a reference to the item or items as they are listed by number or letter on the agenda. The board may consider only those matters disclosed in the open meetings. So I just want to get clarification. Does that mean it has to be read out before we go, or is it enough to just have posted the closed session items?
Vice Chancellor Gable has a response?
Yes, in accordance with Government Code and the Brown Act, we are supposed to be verbalizing the agenda items. So after you have requests for public comments and before you leave to go to closed session, you need to inform the public of the agenda items that will be discussed in closed session.
So we just read what's listed on the agenda?
Correct.
Okay. So that'll start once we've passed this policy, which will be at the next meeting. So then the meeting after that, we would start doing it, or should we be doing it now because it's a government code?
Technically, you should be doing it now, but if you want to start after the board policy passes, that's up to you.
It's not going to pass until next meeting. Well, we're accepting it for review and study now, sorry. Yeah.
So then,
We could extract this item out and pass it tonight if we wanted to.
well, I think, like I just said, if it's a government code, our board policies are relevant. We should be doing it. So at the next meeting, it should happen whether we pass the policy or not, is the clarification I was looking for.
Yeah.
So I don't think we need to pull it to pass it when we haven't had a chance to review and study it.
Yeah.
But it is a
But-
government code.
We could pull it and pass it.
Okay, but we don't need to. The second one has to do with the voting procedure on abstentions. I know this came up at another meeting where we were questioning what a abstention vote means. And the wording that's in the new policy, the problem I have with it is it could constitute an issue if enough people abstained, you wouldn't have a quorum. The function of using an abstention is to have it established that you still have a quorum. So the wording shouldn't say that it counts as a non-vote. The wording should be more in line. It doesn't count as a yes or a no vote, but it's still a vote. So if the way it's listed now in the wording says it's a non-vote, if 4 people did that, you'd not have a quorum.
Right.
So by putting the wording as it counts as it does not count as a yes or a no vote, but it still counts as a vote, you could still have 3 people vote and it would be considered a passed motion because you had a quorum in your attendance. That's the key to how an abstention wording should be.
Okay. That makes sense, and I know you teach government, so I know you know what you're talking
I
about.
mean, and just to reference, the old policy said that an abstention counted as a yes vote, which was an issue of
Yeah, it
contention
did.
because we had all heard that various times from various chancellors and never saw it in writing. And then when we saw it in writing, it was like, well, we need to fix that because it's not really the function of an abstention.
No.
It should not be a yes or a no, but it is a counted vote.
Yeah,
Because if you have the wording as it is, it says it does not count as a vote, you could run into an issue of quorum.
So can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So I'm wondering, that's an interesting take. I mean, a good, interesting take. It's interesting. But couldn't, just thinking out loud now, couldn't 2 things be possible then? If we make that change, couldn't there be concurrently not 4 votes taken and a quorum, But what you're saying is, we could have a quorum, but yet not have 4 people vote on an issue. Is that possible?
Because the way if you word it as it counts as a vote, but it's neither yes or no, it establishes that you still have a quorum. So let's say the vote passed 3 to 0 to 4 abstentions.
Right.
It passes because you had a quorum. It would be extremely rare for 4 people to abstain, but you could have that.
It's theoretically possible. It
And,
could
and,
happen.
and we've actually had issues where, like, you're doing a subcommittee, and you're saying, okay, these 4 people are gonna be, or these 3 people are gonna be on the subcommittee. Technically, they should all 3 abstain from voting themselves onto that subcommittee. And if we only had 6 members, you'd have 3 to 0 to 3 abstentions. It would still pass, because the abstention counts as a vote, but it neither means yes nor no.
Is it written anywhere that you can't vote for yourself to be on a committee? Because I never really read that anywhere.
It depends on the committee. I know it comes up more in city council meetings where they get paid to be on committees. We don't.
We don't.
We could fix
Don't
that.
get paid
but-
for anything.
But if it's any monetary value to it, you're supposed to abstain. So,
Oh, I see, okay.
you know, I mean, you could make a huge stretch argument that me voting for myself to be on the Orange County School Board Association, where I then get a free meal at a board meeting, is a compensation or something. I don't know.
One free meal a year
But I
isn't
would,
gonna.
I would technically, I technically would abstain anyway, just because. And even like voting yourself for president of the board or vice president of the board, or when we're doing reorganization, you technically could abstain from that as well.
That's just,
But there's 2 functions of abstention: conflict of interest, which is legally you have to.
Yeah.
And then there's, you don't feel comfortable, you don't feel like you're informed enough. There's lots of different reasons to abstain beyond conflict of interest, but all of them should count as a vote and just not as a yes or a no.
Okay.
Otherwise, you have quorum issues.
so it's interesting, I'm reading the trustee Roberts Rules book here. And it does mention an abstention being a negative vote.
Robert's rules.
Correct.
It also mentions in Robert's rules, a board can change it to whatever they want, which is why I think this
Sure.
board originally, before any of our time, except for maybe Marcia, voted it to be a yes.
I don't
Because you can
remember
do that. You can override Robert's rules with policy.
Yeah.
But if you look up abstention in general, it's typically neither a yes or a no.
Yeah.
So if there's if we consider, so 7, if we had 7 board members here, we have 6 tonight, I guess, so, if we're at, presumably, well, we are gonna be at 7 after the election, and the vote had come up on an item, and then we had 4 abstentions and 3 yeses, so doesn't an item need 4 votes?
My understanding
pass?
is, because we're supposed to be a 7-member board, that you need to have 4 votes for anything to pass. That's my understanding. Now, if I'm wrong.
So it's
you could
it's
let
a
me know.
rare scenario, but under that change, it could happen.
And I think that's probably why the original wording of the policy made it a yes, to avoid that happening. But again, it's up to this body whether they want it to count as a yes or a no or neither.
Okay.
But the key is that a vote counts for quorum.
Yeah, so for clarification, so under the old policy, we were under what they called common law rule, and the board policy indicated that an abstention actually counted as a yes vote. And so the new language there, after we looked at it from a different perspective, under the Roberts Rule of Order, the abstention would count then as a non-vote. But I hear what you're saying, Trustee Prendergast, you're looking at possibly changing language to be more explicit, that it would be either neither a yes, neither, or a no vote. I think that's what you're saying.
Correct.
To not impact the piece on quorum.
That makes sense,
So-
But I think
we need a
Trustee Jamal's
parliamentarian
point is
rule
well
here.
made, that
Yeah,
if 4
Vice
people
Chancellor-
abstained,
Yeah.
would you then not have a vote because you didn't have 3?
Vice Chancellor Gable has something to say.
So we went over this with our attorney, Randy Erickson, and it's his opinion that if you had, kind of to use your example, if you had 3 members vote yes, you had 3 members vote no, and you had 1 member abstain, that the motion would fail because you don't have 4 members voting yes. So he's not, I think, interpreting it the same way you are, trustee Prendergast, of an abstention counts towards the votes. You would still need 4 affirmative votes with abstentions in
If
order
we
for
had 7
anything to
people here, we
pass.
would need 4,
Well,
correct?
even if you have 6, a majority of the vote is
would need-
4.
we would
So
need
you
4
still
still,
need
right.
4 affirmative votes in order for anything to pass.
My understanding is that's because we're legally a 4-member board, a 7-member board, and you need to have 4 votes to pass anything, no matter what, so. But I don't think that negates what you're saying.
No, and I think that's why,
Kind of.
again, I think
Sort of.
it does a little bit of what I said, where 3 would still pass, but it wouldn't.
Okay.
So if you had 4 abstentions, the motion wouldn't carry. But you would think that if you had 4 people feel that strongly about it, they would just vote no. But
So what did
They-
Randy think, where did our council think we should land on this?
Well, the language that we have recommended was reviewed by our council, and he was in agreement with what the council was. He did caution that moving it this direction could, in fact, harm the board in making decisions because of the fact that you may not get 4 affirmative votes if you have folks that want to abstain on that. So I think that was one of the caveats that he was cautioning against changing it away from the current language.
so there is so if we stuck with the common law language where it did count as an affirmative vote, functionally, nothing would really change for us because it's what we've been operating under all this time. And it would avoid that potential of something failing just because people didn't want to vote.
Right.
Correct.
That maybe they're up for reelection and they're afraid that if they vote one way or the other, it's going to look bad. But that's not really what you should use it for, but I could see that, somewhere happening. So in that sense, I think I would recommend the language stay the way it was.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna recommend after. That we,
Just to avoid that potential problem, which is probably why the language was there in the first place.
Okay.
Someone made, and again, outside of Marcia, I don't know if anybody here would remember if that actually was a problem in the past to where it needed to be fixed and put into the policy.
I don't remember it being a problem in the past, but I remember being very surprised when we discovered that an abstention meant yes, because it just was not, it doesn't seem to make sense that it would be, but it was, and I don't know how that started, but I guess it might have started to make sure that you have 4 votes to pass something, but I would think if someone abstains, you abstain because you maybe have a conflict of interest, at which case it wouldn't matter. But if you have abstained because you don't have enough information, because that's the other reason to abstain, it would seem to me that that would count as a negative vote, because you vote against something that you don't have enough information to vote on, so.
Yeah, well, I think the key wording in here I do like is that it talks about how you have a duty to vote. That's your job.
You do.
You need to, you pony up.
Yeah, you do.
But there are situations where either legally or for whatever personal reason,
so,
you could abstain
and there's,
and not have it hurt, like I said, hurt the vote with quorum issues.
and I agree, I think we should, when we talked about this at our subcommittee, I think our consensus was we wanted to bring it to the board fully to have this kind of discussion that you're hearing today that's, I'm sure, enthralling for all of you. But I think that if there is a member of the board, as they do in the legislature, quite commonly in the legislature, that if a vote is coming up, they can simply leave the room and be absent.
They do, I think.
So,
We've never done that.
but it's quite common in the state legislature for votes that come up for a member to walk out of the room and simply be absent. So there's nothing that would prohibit or say they have to go to the bathroom and not be in the room. And then when the vote is counted, they're marked absent.
As long
So
as you
that's
still
a-
have the quorum, you can do that.
Well, yeah, but there's an option for someone who feels they don't want to vote yes or no, and this abstention now would go back to counting in the affirmative, that they could leave the room.
And you have the issue in closed session, where if it's a conflict of interest in closed session, I know I've had to leave the room when there's been ATEP discussions that involve the K through 12 district that I work for.
But you have a.
So I have to
big
leave the
conflict.
room, but there's still a quorum, and my vote isn't part of it, so.
But I do think there are times, even when, I don't remember it ever happening, that the board, if you really have a conflict of interest, you might have to actually leave the room, even in open session.
If there's discussion involved, yeah,
Yeah.
you technically are supposed to recuse yourself from
Recuse
any of the
yourself.
discussion
Yeah.
and not be a part of the vote at all.
Yeah, yeah.
But abstentions are perfectly fine for just like a any type of conflict of interest. You can still not take part in the discussion and still abstain from the vote without being absent.
I don't think I've abstained in 30 years.
So,
Go ahead.
again, my recommendation would be to return it to the language that was with it counting as a yes vote. And then when it comes up for vote next week or next month, that would be my support.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is that possible to do that?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Okay, excellent. Are there any other comments, questions? Well, thank you for that suggestion. Seems like a good one. And we need to vote on this? Okay, so is there a motion and a second?
Except for review and stuff.
It says except for review and study. That's what I thought, but okay. Okay, so we accept this for review and study, and we're voting on it next month.
Yeah, but we need a
Need a
vote
motion
to
and a second.
accept, review, and study. I make that motion.
There's a motion and a second, and we don't vote on it? We do vote on it. That's what I thought. Grace was saying yes. That we vote on it, that we're accepting it for review and study, because there would be no reason to make a motion and a second if we weren't voting on it. It seems to, I'm a biologist, so, okay, thanks. Okay, we have 5 yeses, 1 no, and 1 abstention, and 1 trustee not present at vote. Trustee Jay is not present at vote. And
After all that?
after all that, and the student,
Wait, where's the?
She heard what you said, and she said, fine, I'm just gonna leave.
she just left.
I didn't see, I missed it.
Okay, and the student advisory vote, yes, so it passes. We have five yeses, so it passes with 1 to spare. Okay, and the next one, the next agenda item is the biennial ethics training, chancellor and trustee travel, and trustee compensation. And all the trustees had our bioethics training with the attorney, and we all passed it, so that was good. And in the agenda is all the individual travel expenditures of the chancellor and the trustees, and the district compensation received by trustees. So are there any questions? It's in, all this information's in the agenda. You can read it. You can see our board is actually very fiscally conservative. We don't spend very much money.
So moved.
Okay, so trustee Prendergast made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
And trustee Jamal seconds it. So now we can vote on it.
Oh, really?
And right now, it's 5 yes, 0 no, 0 abstention, and trustee Jay is not present at vote, so it passes on a 5 to 0 with the student trustee voting yes. Thank you. And then the next one is the board member compensation. So this recommends that the board member monthly compensation be recommended well, it's actually the stipend. It says compensation. I guess it's called compensation. Compensation is getting a 5% increase from $400 to $420 per month. And the student member will go from $200 a month to $210 per month. Each person will get a 5% increase. And this is because everybody else on the whole agenda is getting increases, so the trustees are getting a 5% increase too. So actually, it probably cost us money to be trustees, but we enjoy it. We like it a lot. So is there a motion and a second?
So moved.
Trustee Jay makes a motion. Is there a second? You want to make a second?
Sure, second.
Okay, Trustee Jamal makes a second, seconds it, and we can vote on it now. And this one is unanimous, and with 6 yeses, 0 nos, and the student trustee voting yes. So thank you.
Hey, can I ask something?
Yes.
Sorry, Kristen or Grace. Are we supposed to see how the final vote was cast, or is it just the board president under the system? Oh, it just, I need to go back to the other screen. But I keep missing it. I'm going back and it's already gone. I got it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, no one voted no.
Yeah.
It was,
I,
Unanimous.
oh, really?
Okay, and the next is the consent calendar. So do any board members wish to remove any item from the consent calendar? The items on the consent calendar are items that are just usual. They're not really anything unusual. So that's the way they decide to do it. Okay, so there's no one wants to pull anything off, so? Yes, they do? No? Okay, so is there a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Okay, trustee Inman makes a motion, and
I second it.
trustee Jay seconded it. Could I, now, we can vote on it. Thank you. I'm delighted. I'd like to comment on all these items, but I'm not going to.
President Milchker, while we wait for the vote, kind of a point of personal privilege.
Yes, yes.
Carlo, you got enough motions. You don't have to keep staying if you want to go. And I know you're here. I'll sign it tomorrow.
You have your students here.
Yes.
That's wonderful. Okay, it's unanimous, and with 6 yes, 0 no's, and the student trustee advisory vote of yes. So thank you. And the next one is business services. And it's approved the charge-ready changing infrastructure and rebate participation agreement from Southern California Edison for no-cost installation of infrastructure for 101 electrical vehicles, charging stations at IVC lots 5 and 8. So do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Jamal made the motion, trustee Inman seconded it. Okay, now we can vote on it.
Wait, I have a question.
Oh, okay, go.
Okay, I want to thank Vice Chancellor Gable for answering so many of my questions today. There was one that we didn't get to, and that was the 10.1 and 10.2, where it talks about basically that Southern California Edison is not liable or hold harmless. They are to be held harmless if things go wrong. And that always makes me nervous. So I understand the concept totally. But I guess my question is then where, in terms of liability or problems, how do those get paid for? Are there warranties, for instance, on the equipment that we purchase? Is that where protection would come from, or what?
So yes, we would have warranties on the stations that we purchase ourselves.
Okay. That's all. I think it's a great idea, and I know, living in Irvine, that the public will be very pleased that there's a lot of new stations going in, because it's very difficult, and, you know, this is a lot of stations. And I was impressed with the first part of the whole thing, which talked about the public being part of it, as well as students, staff, faculty, et cetera, et cetera. So that was one thing that I asked the Vice Chancellor about, and it sounds like it's, you know, going to be a nice partnership, if that's the right word.
Good, and-
Thank you.
and-
Is there gonna be a way to turn them off from 4 to 9 when we're in a flex alert and we don't want anybody charging?
That's a good question.
It is good, and that's good. And then, in the state of California, state of California is going to all electric cars soon, pretty soon, so.
No, it's not really gonna. I'm sure everyone's gonna actually do that.
So then, so thank you. So that was, it passed unanimously, with,
We didn't do it.
Waiting on the vote.
what? Oh, we're waiting on the vote?
That was me.
I think I voted, right? Oh, somebody didn't vote. There it goes. Okay, so the final resolution is unanimous with six yeses, 0 nos, and the student trustee advisory vote of yes, so thank you. Now I have to get an electric car, okay? The next one's academic employees, so Vice Chancellor Viscachill, is there any changes on this?
There are no changes, however, you will see an amended contract. We're not going to read it out because you've already approved the terms of the contract. We're just approving a different percentage of time being worked. This is a part-time acting dean, and so you're just approving a higher percentage of her time.
Okay, great, thank you. So do we have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, trustee Jamal makes the motion, and I think trustee Rydell seconded, and now we'll vote on it. This was a final resolution, was the motion carries, 5 yes, and trustee Inman's not present at the vote.
So it's an absence.
So it's an absence,
go.
right?
Scenario
5 yes,
happened.
but 5 yes, it still legally passes. 5 yes, 0 no, and with a advisory vote of yes from the student trustee. And the next one is the classified personal action. So are there any changes?
No changes.
No changes? Okay, is there somebody wants to
So
make a
moved.
motion? Okay. Okay, trustee Jay makes the motion and trustee Whit Rydell seconds it, and now we can vote on it. Thanks. So it passed 5-0 with trustee Inman not present to vote, and the advisory student trustee voting yes. So thank you. And then the next one is 8.3, non-bargaining unit personnel action. Are there any changes?
No changes.
This item was on the consent calendar last time.
11.3.
I have it wrong on my paper. You're right, 11.3 on the real thing. So it was in the consent
And
calendar
it
last
should have been
time.
on the consent calendar this month as
What?
well. It should have been on the consent
I was
calendar.
thinking it probably should have been, because that's a pretty standard item that doesn't really have any serious questions on it, so. So do we have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Trustee Jay makes a motion, and is there a second?
Second.
Trustee Jamal seconds it, and now we can vote on it. And we'll put it in in the consent calendar next time, because the, you know, regular things like this that don't really have any questions in them are easy. Someone didn't vote? Okay, okay. If one person doesn't vote, then it doesn't work, so. Okay, now the final resolution is unanimous. 6 yes, 0 no, and the student trustee has voting yes as well. The next one is the adjustment to the Faculty Association salary schedule. Are there any questions or any comments to this? No?
So moved.
So trustee Jamal makes the motion. Is there a
Second.
second? Trustee Jay seconds it. Now we can vote on it. And it's unanimous. Six yes, 0 no, and the student trustee gives us an advisory yes vote. Thanks. And the next one is the California School Employees, or CSEA, salary schedule, and this is their adjustment.
I do want to call your attention to one item on this. On Thursday, a different item was posted as the appendices. We revised it on Friday. Thankfully, we met with CSEA to meet and confer. We need to hire a nurse practitioner in a classified service as quickly as possible for Irvine Valley College. That required us to class and comp a position that was higher than the current CSEA salary schedule went. So the one you saw on Friday topped out at 154. The new one before you has a high rate of pay that goes all the way to 158. And that is because the licensing and education for a nurse practitioner meant we had to increase the classified salary schedule. I want to thank Scott Ferguson Green and his team for agreeing to that. But I wanted to call the attention to the board that this is a different appendix than you saw on Thursday.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, nurse practitioners need to have a lot more education than nurse, okay, thank you. Okay, so do we have a motion and a second?
I so move.
Second.
Trustee Riddell makes the motion, trustee Jay seconds it, and we can vote on it now. We want to treat our students well and have good staff, so that's great. Oh, it's unanimous, and with 6-0, with the student trustee voting an advisory yes. Thank you. And the next is the Police Officers Association, or POA, salary schedule. Are there any changes on this one? No?
No changes,
So I
thank
need
you.
a motion and a second.
So moved.
Okay, trustee Prendergast makes the motion, and trustee Whitwell seconds it, and now we need to vote. Okay, this one was unanimous, 6-0, with the student trustee voting an advisory yes. And the next one is the district management team adjustment to the salary schedule. So this is everyone in the district, so this is great. So do we have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Trustee Jay makes the motion, is there a second? Second. Second, trustee Inman? Can we vote on it now? And this is unanimous again, 6-0, with the student trustee advisory vote of yes as well. And so that concludes all of the items that we vote on. And the next ones are just informational items, which are listed in the agenda. The Teacher of the Year recognition program, which we're very proud of our Teachers of the Year. One of them won one of the top Teachers of the Year in Orange County. The staff response to public comments, faculty's plan status report, higher education, or HERF monthly summary, monthly financial status report, and retiree OPEB trust fund. And then reports from the administration and the reports from the chancellor and the two college presidents were excellent. I advise everyone to read them. And, but I'll call on them if they have anything else to say. Chancellor, Dr. Juliana Barnes, do you have anything else to say?
You know, I just want, you know, obviously I'm just still a month and a half in, and I just want to just recognize this community. I was actually interviewed by Laguna Woods not that long ago, and they asked the question, what does a chancellor do anyway? And, you know, obviously from, you know, from the surface, from an operational standpoint, obviously I have a responsibility to ensure the fiscal stability of the district, and also from a human resource of facilities and technology aspect. So that's the technical piece of it, what I would call the management or operational piece. But the other piece of it is the leadership piece. And to me, I call that the people piece. And I really love that we had a student speak today and talk about DEIA and the fact that he really, you know, returned to feeling the sense of belonging. And I just keep consistently hearing how this is such a beautiful community that's student-centered, equity-minded, fully committed just to the mission of the community colleges. And I just feel just every day very privileged and blessed and honored to be able to represent this district and this wonderful collection of individuals. So I thought I'd be remiss if I didn't say that. I know I have the report, but I did want to say that. So thank you all.
Yeah, that's lovely. Thank you so much. We're happy you're here. Thank you so much. And next, Irvine Valley College, Dr. John Hernandez.
Thank you, Board President Milchiker. I know it's already been mentioned, but I did want to once again congratulate Dr. Emily Liu on being recognized as a 2022 Distinguished Educator by the Greater Irvine Chamber. What was beautiful about that evening was that the Chamber also gave several John Calvin Memorial Scholarships to college students. And an IVC student, Carlene New, was one of the recipients. She is a student athlete. She's a women's soccer she's on the women's soccer team, an honor student, and a mentee of Dr. Liu. So it was wonderful to see the mentor and mentee both recognized on the same day. I also want to thank Assemblywoman Petrie Norris. She has secured significant investments in the 74th Assembly District, including a $2.5 million to expand Irvine Valley College's Veteran Resources Center in terms of programs and support services. So we're very thankful to the Assemblywoman for her advocacy on behalf of IVC. And then finally, the Walk of Hope returns to IVC on October 12th from 10 to 1 p.m. It is a 1.4-mile loop around the campus to promote suicide awareness. There will be a mental health resource fair, and those who register will also have a lunch provided. So if you're available that day, I encourage you to participate. Thank you.
Thank you. Sounds good. Thank you so much. And President Stern, do you have anything to say? Or
I do, President Milchiker, thank you. I want to point out, in case anyone missed it in the report, that this is Latinx Heritage Month that began on September 15th. We'll be celebrating at Saddleback with a variety of activities. Please see the website, but we don't want to lose track of that very important event and series of events around it. Today, you renewed the contract of our interim dean for the health center, Diana Lerner. Diana, a week ago, got a phone call from me after I got my own COVID bivalent booster because I had written about it in my update, and somebody, an employee, wrote me and said, hey, what about folks without insurance? Could we do something on campus? A week later, today, she opened a booster clinic on campus. And we're very happy that all employees and students will be able to get vaccinated anytime in the next 4 weeks, absolutely free of charge, whether or not they have insurance or not. So thank you, Diana. I want to acknowledge her today. And finally, this evening, I want to acknowledge the folks who stand behind all of us, sit behind all of us tonight. Many of the managers who are here tonight are here to show their thanks for the COLA that they've been given so that they can keep up with inflation. And I know it was important to them as a symbol of our trust in them and the work that they do. But I want to speak to that for a moment. These are in large part servant leaders, and by nature, they do not tout their own accomplishments as servant leaders. They consider themselves part of a support network for everyone else who makes the change and makes the wheels turn every day. But they do a lot. The email flow starts at about 7 a.m. for many of them, earlier for tram, and goes till 10 p.m. in most cases. They're up early, working late, and they're here this evening at the board. They are supporting and leading much of the transformation that is happening at both of the colleges. They are helping transform our institutions to become more student-centered, more outcomes-oriented, and more equity-minded, to use Dr. Barnes's terms. So I am grateful, and I know you're all grateful, and we're all grateful not only for the COLA tonight, but also for the work that gave rise to it and for a group that rarely gets our gratitude. So thank you all tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much. And our board really appreciates all of our employees. We appreciate our administrators and our faculty and our classified professionals. And thank you all for being here. And we'll give you an applause, okay? Thank you. Okay, so now Vice Chancellor Business Services, Dr. Anne Marie Gable.
Thank you. Just real quickly, if you recall, last month in our board agenda items, you guys approved our local hazard mitigation plan. We submitted that to FEMA and California OES, and I'm proud to announce that they have accepted and approved our plan. So now we can start implementing it. So thank you.
Great, good news. Thank you so much. Wonderful. Okay, then Vice Chancellor of Educational Services, Dr. Chris McDonald. Do you have anything or?
Yes, thank you. The board is aware that we have been looking at a replacement for Workday in our homegrown student information system. So our enterprise resource planning solution, we're looking at Banner, and we're on track to bring a recommendation to the board, most likely at the October meeting. Thank you.
Exciting. New changes at the district. Thank you. That's exciting. And then the Vice Chancellor of Human Resources, Dr. Cindy Viscacho.
No report, thank
No,
you.
Okay, thank you. I have,
Wow.
well,
Doesn't
I have to.
happen very often
It
with
doesn't
you.
have, I know. I have to read in memoriam right now. At this time, we will adjourn tonight's meeting in honor of a dear friend and colleague to many at Saddleback College, Vern Hodge, who passed away last week. Vern Hodge served as Dean of Student Development and was a former Vice President for Student Services at Saddleback College for many years. I remember him as that. He was admired as a mentor, colleague, a friend to so many faculty and staff at Saddleback College and throughout the district. Vern was respected throughout the state and instrumental in broadening the Associated Student Government program statewide. Vern also served as the president of the California Community Colleges Student Affairs Association. Vern was admired as a mentor, colleague, and friend to many faculty and staff at Saddleback College and throughout the district. He is survived by his wife, Kathy Hodge, who we all know. Was very active. She worked at the college for many years. Daughter Shay and son Ryan, and also 7 grandchildren. We extend our sincere condolences to his family during this difficult time. Saddleback College staff will share information soon about the details of his services. Thank you and good night.